Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Baseline Podcast. I'm Ben, that's Josh, and we are here. It's Christmas is in a week. We probably have one more episode before Christmas. So I'm not going to say Merry Christmas because I did that last year and then I said it twice, and it was really odd. I said Merry
Hmm.
Christmas twice in two episodes, but I have my Christmas socks on, Josh. So I am celebrating
Hmm.
in a weird way. Um, but how are you doing, Josh? How's the weather? I know you told me before we started recording that it's like 50 degrees as we're recording this on Thursday. I know for me it was celebrating Christmas with Christmas socks, and it was foggy and rainy weirdly this morning. So how's it going over there in the great state of Ohio?
The snow is melting right now. It looks mostly all green in my yard. All the snow that we have been getting is about gone because it is going
Hey,
to
no
be,
shoveling. No shoveling. That's the
yeah,
key.
yeah, no shoveling. So got it all melted into the 50s. But we're going to see some up and down trends here. We're going like in the 20s again tomorrow, 40s next day, 20s again. So
Oof.
we'll see where it's all at once Christmas lines up. I
Yeah.
think after Sunday, it's like 10 to 20% chance of snow every day leading up to it. So we could get a little bit, but as of right now, yeah, it feels like a crisp fall afternoon that we might be, watching some college football
Yeah.
on. But yeah, that's how things are going over here. I also will have some Christmas socks, not today, but at least for
Okay.
all the other Christmas occasions. I don't know how much you pay attention to things in the States, Ben, but McDonald's did the
I saw
Grinch
that.
meal with some socks, and I snagged a couple pairs of those. So I wore one pair to
I
our
love how you said a
Christmas
couple.
party.
I love how you said a couple. Like that means you've went back twice at
I
least.
did. They had four different colors, and my intent was to go like once a week until I got maybe all four. At least I would have four. Maybe I'd have some
Yeah.
doubles. I don't know. But then it like sold out after like 7 or 8
Well, we
days,
do
so I
they
only
do
had the
cups
two.
here. So in the summer they do cups here. So I have like actually this is one right here. So I have like a it's like a McDonald's cup that they
Mhm.
it's a Coke cup, but McDonald's does this every summer. And my goal has always been, and I think Rebecca can tell me that we probably have way too. Yes, she,
She's in another room.
she's right. Yeah, so they're my
Oh,
proudest
okay.
achievement, and she's saying that I gifted them to my brother, is what she's saying. She's right over there.
Okay. Yeah. That was my intent. And then the meal like sold out after like just over a week, so I just had to stop at the two pairs. But yeah, well,
Well,
one
I
pair
didn't
to our
stop at
work
two
Christmas
pairs.
party.
I didn't stop two pairs. I would
Did
have
you get
gotten
them
like
all?
I got almost all the cups. That's the kind of the way it works, but
Okay.
it's true.
Yeah. And then the other pair, I got the yellow pair, and then I'll wear the red pair on like our family's Christmas, which will be sometime this weekend. My brother and his wife are coming from New York, so we're going to celebrate a little bit early.
Yeah.
In addition to going to Browns game Sunday, which we will talk about more later.
Oh
We
yeah.
got a lot of college football
We
discussion
do,
today,
man. We
more than
do.
just playoff matchups too.
Yeah.
We're recording this on Thursday. We usually will
Yeah.
record on Tuesdays, so we got I believe Oklahoma and Alabama happening tomorrow,
Yep.
and the other three will be happening Saturday. But just like the last time we recorded about coaching hires, and then Penn State came in with a bang, and then right after that, Michigan kind of had a
Yeah.
pretty wild story come up too. Everybody's heard about it by now, but Sharon Moore is out in Michigan, and that was the initial notification that I got. I'm like,
Yeah.
why did they fire Sharon Moore? Is it because they just lost to Ohio State? Like this is his second season. They've improved on the year
Yeah.
before, and then you find out it wasn't performance related. It was off the field stuff, inappropriate relationships with staff members, and then after that news broke, then he like threatened allegedly to like showed up at her house and wanted to murder her, and
Yeah.
then allegedly said he was going to kill himself, and then that led to an arrest and a little infamous mugshot moment right there. And I guess the relationship is something people are saying Michigan's known about
Yeah,
uh,
that's what I've heard.
earlier in the season, and they wanted to make sure they got all the details before they made a call. And then Sharon obviously really accelerated the process afterward. But there's a big investigation going on at Michigan, and it makes you wonder if Ward Manuel, the athletic director, will be around much longer because you had the whole thing with Juwan Howard, you had the whole thing with Connor Stallions, and now you got Sharon here, and you got to wonder if his job's going to be in jeopardy too. But
Yeah.
Michigan is in the market now for a football coach.
Yeah.
Probably a top 10 job in the country, but they did kind of miss the
With an
window where everyone
asterisk.
already got hired too. Yeah.
I mean, look, Josh, I put it this way. this football program has been marred with investigations for what, the last 3 years, 3 years at least. And to me, is it an appealing job? Like, honestly, answer that, Josh. Like, is it to you, if don't look at Michigan as the brand, like just look at the job with everything that you've seen with the program and with the athletic department, it seems like, would you say this is still an appealing job for someone to come in there with not knowing what is happening truly behind everything?
You do have to get some clarity. You got to know structurally who's going to be, on top of you and if this is all going to be going
And there's
away.
no
But
president right now, by the way. There's an interim president of the
that too.
university.
LSU just went through this before they hired Lane Kiffin because they had a few positions that were vacant also. So wanting to know, the structure of the university is really big for anyone that's getting hired in. Wanting to know if there's any punishments coming. I don't think there's going to be any punishment from this, like for the university, as far as like scholarships, bowl bans, and playoff bans, and that kind of stuff. But
No,
I
yeah.
think outside of all the craziness and the investigations, I think the Michigan job nationally is top 10 with how much they do invest in the program and how much history there is, the fan base, the stadium, the legacy, like all those things. Like Michigan football is a staple in this
Yeah.
industry.
I,
But right now, yeah, if I was interviewing for the job or interested, I would have questions about who my boss was going to be,
yeah.
who the university's boss was going to be, and if there's anything else maybe that's a unturned stone that could come up that affects my ability to do my job.
Well, I even think on top of that though, too, Josh, is that if you look at this, like, how long did they know? Like, that's the thing that worries me, man. Is like
I'm hearing as
how long,
early as
like,
week 2 against Oklahoma. That's stuff that David Cohn was saying on Craning
which is
Company.
which is really funny because our friend Chris, uh from with Zach
Menace.
Smith, he does not like David Cohn, which I thought was hilarious because I watched one of his new, because he's got a new like sports channel as well. And he was like watching David Cohn talk about it. He's like, wait a minute, you knew about this since week 2? And you didn't say anything either. But I guess I'm on like in the weird
It's
spot
not
of like,
just David. I think Josh Pate
yeah,
said he heard some rumblings and some other,
yeah.
national figures. And
But I guess for me though, Josh, is that it like here's my question. I'm going to ask you this, and you can answer it how you want. Do you think if Ohio State loses to Michigan, does Michigan do this?
that's the other thing that we'll
Like, do
never
they?
know.
Like, do because it seemed like nothing was going
Are
to
you gonna
happen.
fire your coach right before like college
Hmm.
football playoffs start? Because if they beat Ohio State, they're 10
They're
and
in the
2. They're
college
in the
football
Big Ten
playoff,
championship, and they're probably not dropping out, just
as we
like
saw with Alabama.
Alabama
Yeah,
didn't drop out. Like they view the Big Ten that way. So yeah,
that's
it's
it's a.
something
I,
that we'll never know. We can speculate,
I
but
just the last pictures you have of Sherwan Moore is him walking out the field with his players guarding the M, and Ohio State just celebrating with their fans. That's one of the last pictures you see. And also on top of that, you have the running back Marshall, who was already, his mouth was so big during the Ohio State Michigan game. 2 days before this all happened, said like, "I believe in the man, Sharon Moore," which I'm just like, that came back to bite him. But also, like, can we also get done with the Michigan men talk for a little while? Like, can we just like Dave Portnoy? Like, I'm just saying, man. Like, dude, just let's let the Michigan man thing. Like, let's just say, like, hey, University of Michigan has a good coach. Like the Michigan man stuff, I think is coming back to bite a lot of the Michigan people real fast. And I don't know. That's just my opinion, and it maybe is that rivalry instinct, but it's also just like I don't know if any of these decisions these coaches have made. I mean, you look at Jim Harbaugh since he left, or like underneath his, how many DUIs we've seen, how many coaching things have
yeah,
happened.
it's
Like
not just Sharon. It's also
it's
it's
so
also Matt
much. It's
Weiss
a culture thing.
and Denard Robinson and others.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a culture thing, and that's why like the Michigan man thing just really drives me nuts. But that's besides the point. The only candidates I can think of for this Michigan job, to be honest with you, Josh, Dillingham from Arizona State seems like the only one that might be a possibility. I don't think DeBoer leaves Alabama. I don't think he wants to go in to deal with that Michigan stuff right now. That's the only guy I can think of, unless you just keep the interim guy and be like, look, for a year, we're just going to keep him just till we figure this stuff out.
Yeah, as of right now, Biff Poggi is the interim, and that doesn't really excite me all that much if I'm a
No.
Michigan fan. But if you kind of missed your window to get like a guy that's quality, like how far down do you got to dip
Yeah.
where it becomes like this isn't the Michigan standard. So then you just go for a year and then like wait again for
Yeah.
to go for your coach for real. But I'm with you. I don't think DeBoer leaves Alabama. I think he's at one of those quote unquote destination jobs. I also don't think it's a good look for his brand if he leaves because it
No.
sounds like the pressure at Alabama was just too much.
Yeah.
I mean, not that he would have any less pressure at Michigan, but I mean, Alabama's got their standards set by Nick Saban, and if he couldn't handle more than 2 years succeeding him, I don't think that looks good for his brand. Kenny Dillingham is the name that I'm hearing over and over again.
And
I
Levitt's
just
leaving.
do,
That's another thing from Arizona State. So that's another avenue maybe too.
yeah. The thing with Kenny, I know he'll be like a hot name here, for any other jobs that come about in the next couple years. I just wonder if his brand of coaching and style can fit at Michigan because he seems more of like a laid back, fun
Yeah, that's
pro
true.
player, and
True.
I
Yeah.
think something like that can work at a place like Arizona State. But I'm just unsure if that can work at Michigan. And we can say at the end of the day, winning will work anywhere. But Brian Kelly didn't embrace LSU the way he should have, and that's why culturally it wasn't a good fit and why that failed. And I
Sherrone
wonder
Moore
if you can
didn't.
bring that
Sherrone
kind of
Moore didn't do what
culture.
he was supposed to.
Yeah, I just don't know if you can bring that culture to Michigan and it work. We'll of course find out. I'm
Yeah.
sure that Marcus Freeman will get involved in this. I've heard Lincoln Riley's name tossed around in this.
But I
Uh,
think a lot of those guys are just not going to want to deal with the chaos that comes with being a Michigan head coach right now. I mean, you don't know what the outcome of this is going to be. Like, there's so many other outcomes too you got to deal with. Like, you're still dealing with the fines, the millions of dollars of fines that you're dealing with the different investigations. Which still, how did Michigan State get vacated wins, but Michigan didn't? Is still beyond me. But I think at the end of the day, if you look at the football landscape, Ryan Day is probably salivating right now because he now knows like this is like I don't see Michigan, especially depending on these recruits, if they get to stay or they leave or whatever. Like this is the opportunity if you're Ohio State. If you look at the football aspect, Ohio State to dominate this rivalry for the next
oh, absolutely.
10 years.
This could be very bad very quickly if it's not fixed in a timely fashion. And I never thought that the Stallions situation was going to do to Michigan what everyone in Buckeye Country hoped it would, but this actually might do far
Worse.
worse damage than that. Yeah, this could bring Michigan back down, dare I say, to the
Rich
the
Rod,
Rich Rod Brady Hoke days
Brady joke.
again. Yeah, yeah,
I, I yeah, I hate
that could be
whoever has to
bad.
follow this.
Yeah.
But
The
again,
other
and
the
I
other thing
yeah
is Michigan might have to wait for some of these playoff teams to get done.
yeah.
They might have to wait for the NFL season to get done. Guys like Jesse Minter, former Michigan
Which I don't
DC.
think he wants to go back. I don't know if he would want to go back. The money he's making in the NFL, I don't think I don't
Well, you
know if
can
he
always make more as the head coach in Michigan than you can as a coordinator in the
true.
NFL. But there's
True.
again way less pressure, no recruiting involved. You get to just call plays in the NFL. But he is an NFL guy too. Like he's been with the Ravens, with of course John Harbaugh before, and I think he wanted to
Someone
get
said
back.
Mike Tomlin, and I was like, oh, that he would never fit well at Michigan. Mike Tomlin. That would just be a move that would
See
be
who
weird.
who Michigan I think claims to be or how they brand themselves fits Mike Tomlin, but I don't know if Mike Tomlin fits the actual brand of
No,
Michigan
I
right now.
agree. Uh, some people are saying Jim Harbaugh. I'm like, Jim Harbaugh can't coach in
He
the
can't
college
coach at
football
Michigan right
for
now.
like
He
10
would be
years.
he's under some kind of big penalty that he get, but
This
yeah,
just goes to show also how much he left and just left Sharon Moore to like rot, by the way. Like this just that just puts a whole new light on this. Like he was the guy is what Jim Harbaugh said.
and Sharon did it to himself. Like you can't say that anyone else put him in a bad position.
Yeah,
Like
I
he
agree.
created this whole thing. This wasn't anything that necessarily was breaking NCAA rules. This was just him being an objectively like bad man.
Yeah, bad human. Not a Michigan
Yeah.
guy. So
Yeah.
that's enough with that, I think. But I do think we have some games to preview, and I'm really excited because this might be one of the easier first rounds that we've been able to do, I think, since last year. I think last year
Well,
was harder.
yeah, we'll dive right into the first one that we'll get, which is Alabama and Oklahoma.
Ooh, I'm
This is
excited
a
for this
regular
one. This might be the closest game, by the way, I
Yeah.
think.
This is a regular season matchup that we got to see about a month ago, and I think the score was 23-21
Yeah, I believe
Oklahoma in
Oklahoma
this
won.
one.
Yeah.
Uh, in this game, Alabama dominated the stat sheet the first time around, but they had three turnovers and Oklahoma had none. And these weren't just like freak turnovers, like crazy interceptions or tip passes. This was like Oklahoma punching footballs loose and like
Yeah.
forcing turnovers. Like
Yeah.
credit to their defense for doing that. And so going into this next matchup with them, I don't know if we're going to get the same Alabama style offense.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is they got a top 30 passing attack right now, led by Ty Simpson, of course. But
Hmm.
his last 3 or 4 games have been like, there's been stuff to be desired there. He's been
Yeah, no
completing
running
just
game.
over half his passes. The running game's never been there,
It's
but
so bad,
they've
dude.
been able to like win in spite of it because of how well Ty Simpson's been throwing the football. But I'll just go ahead and tell you what Ty's last few box scores have been. So in the Georgia game, completed 48% of his passes for 212 yards, a touchdown, a pick. That was the SEC championship. Against Auburn, he completed 54% of his passes. He did have 3 touchdowns, no picks, but just 122 yards. Against Eastern Illinois, FCS game, may not read too much into that. 147 yards, 0 touchdowns, 2 picks. So this is definitely not the same quarterback that we saw in that stretch where he went against, Georgia, Vanderbilt, Missouri, Tennessee, that gauntlet that it was at the time and just was crushing it. Only had 1 pick and like a
And
dozen
Oklahoma's
touchdowns or
defense is
something like
good.
that. And the Oklahoma defense is good. Like that, they forced 3 turnovers the first time, so they're facing like a weaker Alabama offense is what I'm getting at. There's also a couple injuries, like LT Overton, I believe, is going to be out for this game. They're hoping he can get him back for a round 2 matchup if they do succeed. But uh, as far as Oklahoma goes, we know what John Mateer is. He hasn't really ever been himself since that one injury. Just the 12 touchdowns and 10 picks to end the season. But I will say that he ended the year 318 yards, completed 60% of his passes against LSU. The only problem is he had 3 picks in that one. So it's like John's kind of who he is. Ty Simpson's on the downtrend. I think the Alabama run game is what it is, and the Oklahoma run D or running offense also is what it is. It has its moments where it sparks, but as far as like this second time around, I do lean more towards Oklahoma, and Oklahoma's just seemed to have Alabama's number in general lately. They, of course, ended the 2024 season with an upset win over Alabama that kept them out of the playoff. And yeah, I lean Oklahoma in this one, the second time around this season. Also, I was going to go ahead and say that the spread is Oklahoma -1.5. And the other thing to remember is since these are playoff games in the first round, Oklahoma is the home team, so this is at
Yeah.
Norman.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you a lot of what you said. Like I think Alabama's offense, obviously they can't run the ball like you said. It's atrocious. Like I watched them run the ball in that SEC. I was like, this is sad. It was just sad to watch. And also I think just generally, can they keep up? Like if they don't score, again, Oklahoma's offense is not great, right? Mateer has not been the same since he got hurt. He's not going to be the same. But the one thing they can do is okay, they have a defense that can stop it, but also Oklahoma can run the ball. They can throw the ball when they want to. If it's a good, they have this momentum, they keep going. I think it's one of those things where if Alabama is up, I think Oklahoma could keep up with them. But I think if Oklahoma's up, I don't think Alabama can keep up with Oklahoma. I think Oklahoma's defense is just too good. I think it's the closest thing we got to an Indiana and Ohio State defense. Like I think it's the closest defense in the playoff right now. And I'm leaning Oklahoma. I think it's at home too. It's advantage. I think Norman, the fans in Norman are going to want this matchup, kind of like Ohio State did last year with the 8 seed, and Oklahoma's the 8 seed. I think Oklahoma's going to win this game. My score prediction was I put today was I'm going to go 28-17 Oklahoma. I think they just come out on top. I think they keep the lead early, make it very very hard.
So, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and lean Oklahoma also. The over-under on this one on ESPN or on DraftKings is 41.5. So they're not expecting a very high scoring game, just like the first one wasn't either.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and pick Oklahoma 21-17 as my final pick, and that would, I believe, have the under hit also. So that's Oklahoma, Alabama. The next day, of course, we got 3 more playoff games happening, so we'll go ahead and get into those right now. First up, we got Miami at Texas A&M. This is
Oh, it's
happening
gonna be a
at
good one.
noon at Kyle Field. And to me, this is the most interesting, hopefully the most exciting matchup of the first round.
And they get to face
Uh,
Ohio State, whoever wins this.
yeah.
That's your
Uh,
prize.
these two teams ultimately kept Notre Dame out of the playoffs since
Yep.
they defeated them the first 2 weeks of the season. Miami in more of a like a mid-20s battle, and then Texas A&M I think got in that shootout that ended with them getting a 1 point win. Uh, and I think if you want to look for a team that maybe can make a run, kind of like Ohio State did with just like the underdog seed, or maybe somebody that's a little bit lower than what they should, or maybe even has like a kind of a, I won't call it a favorable path. It is a pretty tough one, but if Texas A&M can get past Miami, then of course they got to play uh, Ohio State next, and then they would play the winner of Georgia, Ole Miss, or Tulane before they get to the national championship game. And then just A&M being like so like complete, being able to like win games in multiple ways. They've won the defensive grit fest, they've won the comebacks, they've won a shootout, they've been in a lot of situations. So I don't think that Miami's really going to put them in a position that they haven't been in yet. The other thing that I'm looking at here is I think Texas A&M can run the football a little bit better. Although Miami doesn't let mobile quarterbacks really do much damage. They've gone against Kyron Jones, DJ Lagway, Kevin Jennings, Josh Pate was going over like the five like most athletic quarterbacks they've gone against, and they combined for less than 100 rushing yards, the five of them. So I wouldn't expect Marcel Reed to contribute to that if the A&M ground game does get going. And if for whatever reason it can't get going at all, I do trust Marcel Reed's arm to take them there. However, three of his last five games, he's had multiple interceptions, so he has been turnover prone, as has Carson Beck at times this year.
Carson Beck's
But
always been turnover prone.
well, I was gonna point out Miami has ended the year on a high note. I think they were trying to earn some style points because the playoff spot for them was in jeopardy, and it was against lesser teams. But I think they were making it a point to like really light it up, and Carson Beck's stats reflect that. But again, it wasn't against any really like hard team to play against.
Yeah.
And the main thing that I'm looking at here too, like the final like thing that sways me towards Texas A&M, number one, the country in sack rate at Kyle Field. Imagine how loud it's going to be on third downs,
It's gonna be real
how
loud,
much
real
pressure they're
loud.
going to be able to bring. Like I lean Texas A&M here, although I think I could convince myself Miami, but I really do like Texas A&M here. I think they're a little underseeded at 7. Miami, of course, has been in our top 5 in the past, but they started to slow down a little bit, and I know the Texas A&M's.
Texas
Uh,
A&M should be higher than Ole Miss. That's one fact, personally.
yeah, I don't necessarily agree that they should have fallen all the way to 7 after that one loss to Texas, but here we are. I do think they should be a little bit higher, but I'm going to go ahead and take them in Miami. I do think this will be the most exciting first round matchup that we get, though.
Yeah, I agree with you. I could have went either way. I just don't trust Carson Beck, and honestly, Marcel Reed, I don't really trust him lately, just with keeping control of the ball. I mean, there's a world, Josh, and I thought about this today, where both quarterbacks could combine for like 5 interceptions. Like, there's a big world where this could be like just
Yeah,
interception game. And
absolutely.
I've been really liking how Miami's been playing lately, and we haven't seen Texas A&M bounce, come back after a loss. We haven't seen that, right? Like
That's the
we,
one spot. Yeah, I
yeah,
said that we've seen them in a lot of different
we haven't seen
spots,
that.
but how do they
Um,
recover after a loss? We haven't
like
seen
we
that since
knew,
their loss
I
was
mean,
their
that's
last
what Ohio
game.
State had to do last year. We saw Miami this year bounce back, and so for me, as much as I hate this because I don't think Carson Beck's a good quarterback at all, I'm actually going to pick Miami in this game. I think Miami
Hmm.
has proven over the end of the year of what they can do, and also I think Texas A&M, as much as you say they're an underdog or they're underseeded, I'm not as high on Texas A&M. I think that their defense showed a lot of weaknesses multiple times this year. Whereas you look at the other top teams like Oregon, Ohio State, Georgia, Indiana, Texas Tech, is like they gave up an amount, but they never would multiply that over time. Like, it was very consistent. And so for me, I just don't know if Marcel Reed and this offense can get going, because I think Miami has a very underrated defense. I think Miami has a very good defense. And again, Carson Beck and Marcel Reed, I'm going to say there's a bold statement in this game. There's going to be 4 interceptions thrown in this game. Maybe it's all 4 by one guy. Maybe it's 2-2. Maybe it's 3-1. I don't know, but that's where I'm going to go with this. I'm going to say Miami wins this game. I'm going to go 31-27. Miami gets this on a late touchdown by Malachi Tony. I think that's his name, right? I think it's going to be a pass to Carson Beck for the win. 31-27 on a little double reverse.
Yeah, I think in some ways Miami is similar in the sense that they also have a really good pass rush. Like they could make
Hmm.
life really difficult for Marcel Reed also. I just don't think they run the football as good. Like the capabilities there with the offensive line, and Mark Fletcher is a solid athlete, but they ended up ranking in like the 70s as far as run goes.
Yeah.
So I think Texas A&M gets after the quarterback a little bit better. I trust their run game a little bit more at the end of the day. But if you can force Marcel Reed to have to throw, over 40, close to 50 passes, I do think that makes things interesting. So it's the game I feel the least confident in picking, but I do lean Texas A&M slightly with that home field advantage, with that pass rush, with that ability to run a little bit more.
Mm.
And my score, I'll go ahead and go with 27 to 23 Aggies.
Mm.
Now, admittedly, these next two first round matchups, Ben, I did very little digging into because I think
As I did.
and it's intentionally disrespectful on my part to the
I
two teams
agree
here that don't
for
belong
both
in
of
this
us.
playoff because it's
They
the
don't.
DEI selections of Tulane and of James Madison. But we'll go ahead and
DEI.
continue chronologically in the order
That was a
that
good
the
one,
games
by
are
the way.
happening
That
with
was a good one.
Tulane at Ole Miss.
That was
Now, Ole
good.
Miss, I worried about because of the
Yeah.
Lane Kiffin departure and what that meant for the coaching staff and maybe some of the players. Luckily, they're going to survive to the second round because they're playing Tulane. They're a 17.5 point favorite. This is also a game that happened earlier in the year, and Ole Miss won by, I want to say, 30 some points. I'll go ahead and double check that right now. But
It's gonna be
yes, Ole
ugly.
Miss and Tulane have also played at one point this season. Yes, Ole Miss 45 to 10. I
Oh
remember
my
talking about
goodness.
this game with you, and I think I picked Tulane to win actually because I was unsure about Ole Miss at the time. They had some close calls. We also didn't know that much about Trinidad Chambliss, but instead he comes in that game, throws 307 yards, two touchdowns, no picks. Also, on the topic of turnovers, Ben, we just mentioned that Marcel Reed or Carson Beck could be potentially a pick machine in that game, or both of them. Chambliss has had three interceptions all season long, uh, zero multi-interception games. So if you want to, you know, come up with a way that Tulane can maybe win, I think you need to force a lot of turnovers and make Trinidad's life difficult. The man doesn't really make that many mistakes, at least that
No.
many bad mistakes. So the path I think to beat Ole Miss here just it's going to be difficult for the Green Wave here. I also don't know how much John Summerall is involved in this at all. Like he's
So I do
gone
know
now,
he
so
is. I
that's
do know he's been at Tulane a lot this week. Like he's been
he's
the
doing
last
he's
couple
doing like he's
weeks.
double dipping
Yeah,
duty right
but
now.
I know he spent
Yeah,
a lot of time this week game planning and stuff. They said
yeah.
so.
That's the other thing involved is like, yes, Lane Kiffin isn't here, but Pete Golding is their head coach now. They've already tabbed him, not
He's
even
been
just the
there.
interim, the permanent, a guy that's in the building. And then yeah, just leadership on the other side for Tulane. I mean, you can make this argument for Texas A&M. I think they lost a coordinator also in that one. That's the other weird thing about this is like why are we playing playoff games and with like half staffs and creating a calendar that
Yeah, I
leads
know.
to situations like this? It's dumb. Let's fix
No,
this,
you should.
please.
Everything should be switched. I say you either move up the season early, you move up it early, or you just make everything like January like 20th. I know this comes into play with the whole the registration of students. Okay, talk with the
Hmm.
universities, be like, look, we can register guys a little later. But you can't be doing this in the middle. It's not fair to the playoff teams. It's not
Yeah.
fair to other teams. It's just not. It's not fair.
Not that like Tulane would ever have a shot, but I thought Ole Miss had a shot to make a run, and I think that there you got a lower ceiling now just as a result of that coaching
Yeah.
staff and the inevitable player departures that'll happen in transfer portal once that opens up the first week of January. But yeah, we got a 17.5 point spread for Ole Miss here, and I think that's more so because they don't know what version of Ole Miss we're going to get. But this is something else that I heard from Josh Pate this week, and that's something that I agree with, and we noticed in the playoffs last year, is there's no overlooking anybody at this point of the season. There's
Yeah.
not like that trap game mentality. You got Ole Miss's full attention, and I
Hmm.
think they're going to make it a point to light you up early so that they can rest their starters in the second half. I think that'll be the case with
That's like what
Oregon and
Ohio State
JMU,
did
but
against
we'll wait.
Tennessee. That's what Ohio
Yeah,
State did against Tennessee. They rested their guys in the fourth quarter.
yeah. So for this game, I think that we could see a 42 to 14 final. Give me Ole Miss by
Uh,
a lot.
by a million, right? That's the old saying. I'm gonna say, yeah, I agree with you, Old Miss, man. I love that quarterback. He's especially because he's a D2 guy, like a guy from the D2 ranks that comes
Yeah.
up and proves himself. I really like him as a player. I really hope he doesn't go to LSU. I hope he just finds his own path, like Don't follow Lane. Um, I think Ole Miss is going to win this one. I think it's going to be a bloodbath, man. I think it's going to be like I'm going to say 50 ball. I'm going to say that Ole Miss wins this. I'm going to go 56-10. I'm
Mm,
going to go 56-10. I don't even think it's going to be close. I think this game at halftime is 35-0. Like I
mhm.
don't know how as a Tulane your coach is left. He's going back and forth between Florida and you guys. How many of those players are already in talks with the head coach to follow him? So I to me I think it's gonna be 56-10, and I think that's where we're gonna be at. Maybe I'll be wrong, but I don't think so.
Yeah. Well, that leaves us with Oregon hosting James
So it's
Madison.
gonna be such a close game, Josh. I can feel it. Feel it.
James Madison also, I didn't do my due
They
diligence
lost their
on
coach as
this,
well,
but yes, Billy Napier will be taking over as the head coach, so it means
which
that
is
they had a
hilarious.
vacancy. That means they had a vacancy, and I don't know how involved he is in this game, but I do know that the one Power Five team that played against James Madison this year was Louisville, and they won 28 to 14. So enter Oregon, who of course doesn't
Is
have their offensive or
silently
defensive
doing really good
coordinators,
though, but silently
but
they've been playing really well.
they are. That's what I was going to say. Even in the absence of their offensive and defensive coordinators for this game, at least, I think James Madison is an incredible matchup for them. And again, I'll make one small pitch for maybe why James Madison could keep it close. So they do have, I think, a top 10 or top 15 rushing attack. However, with the talent on the Oregon side, I think they're going to put James Madison in a position where they're going to have to throw the football and the run will be abandoned. And the pass game at JMU ranks in the 90s. So doesn't really favor
Yeah,
them all that much, even in the absence of those. And if you want to find a team that maybe could have a similar, like the easiest path possible, that could maybe make a run like how Penn State did to the Final Four, I think Oregon could be that team because they do play James Madison first. Then they play Texas Tech, who's the four seed, the easiest of the teams that got to bye. And then you got to play IU, who you already played this year. You lost by 10. You also can make the case that Indiana is ranked where they are, not because of the talent roster, but because of how they execute. So you got to figure that you match up pretty well talently, and then you could be in the national championship. Uh,
we've always said the five is the easiest route. If you look at
Five
it
does seem like the
schematically.
easiest route, yes. Because you also didn't have to play in a conference championship the week before. So while you do have to play that first round game, it's going to be more of a tune-up game because you're playing that 12, most likely the G5 team. You got that extra week of rest from not having to play in the conference championship game, and then you can just enter this, bang, 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 and go all at it. So I think Oregon learned some things last year as the one seed, and they're going to make some changes. Dan Lanning will this time around. This should be the first time he gets either a playoff win or conference championship win. He still hasn't done that. That's one thing that's really lacking on his coaching resume right now. When people talk about coaches and they want to rank him way high and then diss James Franklin for having, very few wins in these sections. Like Dan Lanning hasn't won a Big Ten championship
He did.
or
He
a
won last year. He won Big Ten championship last
or
year.
Big Ten championship playoff. Hasn't won a
Yeah,
playoff game yet.
yeah,
You want to get James Franklin that win the big games. Dan Lanning still hasn't won a playoff game. This is his opportunity. So I think
yeah.
he'll at least get it done here and then has the more favorable matchup against Texas Tech. But yeah, you said 56 to 10 for the Ole Miss game. I was thinking something along the lines for this one. I'll go 55 to 10 Oregon.
I I'm gonna top you. I'm going 63-3. I might be disrespecting JMU, and I might get a whole bunch of disrespect that I don't care. I'm sorry. I'm still the firm believer that we should have the 12 best teams in the playoff, not here's some like participation ribbons. Because let's be honest, they're getting their money, but they're going to get slaughtered. So to me, it's like, why don't you just put in the Notre Dame and you add in a Vanderbilt, and there you go. There's your 12 best teams. You know what? You're in a non-Power Five conference or non-Power Four conference. I'm sorry. It's
Yeah.
just the way it is. Like, just deal with it.
I don't think the
It's
solution is to add more teams to the playoff. The
no.
solution is to make the selection process more reasonable,
Someone
more
said 20.
smart.
Someone said 28 teams. I'm like, why? What would be the point at that point?
Talk about a boring regular season.
It would just not even matter anymore.
And
But
boring playoff games. Like we got boring playoff games now in the 12 team
can you
field.
imagine?
Yeah.
Like the 21st seed versus the 24th seed. I
Yeah.
don't care.
Like, man, Ben, we got Oregon and James Madison as the night game at 7:30 happening on TNT, True TV, HBO Max. Most people don't have
None of
HBO
those.
Max. So it's like we're not missing anything. We can turn into bed early, make the church on Sunday with plenty of rest.
And then wait till next week when Ohio State has to play at freaking. Well, they play on a Thursday night though, or no, they play on no, they play on that that Wednesday night, whatever the Wednesday night would be. So
Let me see if I can
the thirty
find
first, they'll
that
play on the
day.
31st. They don't play on New
They
Year's. I
play
mean,
on New Year's Eve.
for me, it would be New Year's because by the time the game starts, it's New Year's already for me.
Right. Let me see if I can find that here, if it'll come up.
I think it's yeah, because I think Ohio State plays on New Year's Eve,
Yeah,
and then
they will
everyone else plays
play
on New
New Year's
Year's.
Eve. Yep. Yep, they're the only one on New Year's Eve, and then New Year's Day is the other three. Yep.
And if they win, they play on a Thursday. That's all I remember. So,
Yeah.
yeah, that's some of the games. But
That's the playoff picks right
I
now.
do think to finish up, I think the show we do need to talk a little bit Browns, unfortunately, because it's just depressing. But
Well, I was gonna get into like some early transfer portal
oh
departures
yeah, for sure. I
because
actually
we've
forgot
had
about
some
that because
names.
the
We've
big
had some
quarterback
names.
names, which your
We do
guy's in
have
this.
we do have four prime quarterback names right now so far that
How
have
do you feel,
declared
Josh?
their interest.
How do you feel,
Well,
Josh,
DJ
right now?
Lagway had 14 interceptions, which was 132nd in the nation out of I think 137 FBS teams. The the story is that he met with his camp and John Summerall and his coaching staff, and it wasn't a guarantee that he was going to start the next year, and he didn't do anything, this year to really guarantee that he should start again. And it left DJ feeling like he wasn't going to be
They said though he's a
guaranteed
hard
a
worker
spot,
though.
didn't want to compete, didn't want to
They said he was
fight,
a hard
and
worker,
decided to get
though.
out.
Is that not true? They keep saying he's a hard worker, but I
I
keep
don't know.
hearing
He
opposite.
didn't want to stay and defend his starting job. He just wanted it handed to him, I guess. So
Does that bother
goodbye,
you more,
DJ.
or do you wish he was still going to stay around, or do you feel like it was good for a reset anyways?
You see, we saw the flash freshman year. Like that happened. Like they
Yeah,
caught lightning in a bottle with him, and you could say it's that he got figured out. You could say that Billy's staff didn't really put him in a good position, which I mean, Billy was still the coach when all those other games were happening his freshman year. So I don't know. I don't really know what to make of it. I would have liked to see maybe a guy come in and force him to compete, but he's gone now. So DJ Lagway in the transfer, excuse me, in the transfer portal. Another one that I thought was odd, especially with the narrative of why he chose his team to begin with, was Dylan Raiola.
oh, I know.
He's going to Nebraska where his dad's name, is in the stadium. It's legacy. It's not just being a guy, but the
Not
guy.
much being a money guy,
And in 2 years, he is done with that
and his uncle's
feel
done
good
as well.
story.
His uncle's not coaching there anymore. His brother
Yes,
decommitted.
yes,
Ah, legacy, legacy.
yes. It
Right.
was a fun feel good story for Husker Nation. But at the end of the day, it's not what Patrick Mahomes would have done. So he's got to go somewhere else and maybe tear his ACL also in his honor.
Someone
And
said Texas Tech, and then I've been hearing it's Sorsby that's going to go to Texas Tech, but yeah,
Brandon Sorsby from Cincinnati is also there, as well as Sam Levitt from Arizona State.
but I think Raiola is one of those guys that is very interesting because he's not very mobile. And I think you're seeing more coaches nowadays. Julian Sand might be the odd one out on this, but that they want a guy who might not be super fast, but he can do some stuff with his legs. Now, I'm not saying Raiola can't, but what I saw him this year is just a quarterback who looked lost in the headlights a few times. And for a guy who's as highly rated as he was, like if I had a choice, I'd take Lagway just because I know there is that talent in the bottle. I don't know if we've seen it from Raiola. I think it's the same thing with Arch Manning. Like I don't know if we've seen the capacity of what they can handle. And so for me, like if I'm going to choose between Arch Manning, Dylan Raiola, Lagway, Julian Sane, and let's say Sam Levitt or whatever it might be, like I maybe take the shot on a DJ Lagway, a Sayan or an Arch Manning. Like I just don't know if Dylan Raiola he's played in an offense that kind of was around him. It was focused on what he can do best, and he couldn't even do it there. So for me, is where do you go? I've heard Indiana, I've heard Louisville, I've heard Oregon. Like I think Oregon would be a terrible spot for him. I don't think that's a guy they would like to have there. Louisville makes sense because it's kind of like a quarterback spot. But I mean, if he went to Indiana, like I don't know if him and Signetti would get along. That's just a
Mhm.
personal opinion. But I don't know. What's your thoughts on it? Because I just feel like this one out of all the four that you just mentioned, Sorsby, Levitt, right, Lagway, I just feel like this one is just like he almost was in a spot where it was good for him. Now I feel like he doesn't really have a place that fits his style very well.
Yeah, I think out of all these guys, Rayola's going to be the bigger name. And like Lagway had some flash. I thought he did way better this season before he got the one injury than he did last season, also as a freshman. So you've gotten a lot of tape on him. You've gotten to see really what he can do. And you would assume that junior year, this coming season, is going to be like his best football season. Uh, I don't think we've seen anything that would make me think he's going to be a day one pick in the NFL just yet.
No, no.
I think right now he's one of those guys where it's like the name's a little bit bigger than the production right now. But out of the four guys we talked about, I think Lovett would be the guy that I would go for first, simply because of the work ethic there, and I think the quietness and just like that. I think
Great
he's got
kid
more.
too.
Yeah, I think he's got more dog than all these guys. But Rayola would probably be second, and that's not because I think he's less talented. I think I'd go Rayola
There's a
first
lot
if it
of
was all
baggage
about
though with
talent.
him though. There's a lot of baggage
Yeah,
with him.
like with him comes, the
Decommitments. He had three decommitments in his
yeah.
cycle.
Yeah. With that comes the questions on loyalty, how focused he will be, the brand off the field, and the wannabe Patrick Mahomes stunts and
Which I
stuff.
love how he
So
says he doesn't want to be, and I'm like, dude, you can just own up to it at this point. Like just
yeah,
just
he's
admit
got
to
it
it at this
right
point.
down to the number, the jersey number, I
The
believe, the
goatee,
haircut, the sunglasses, the facial hair. Yeah, like it's all there. So I love the Dylan Raiola talent. I would definitely consider getting him if I was a school in need of a quarterback. Probably won't be one of the big brands right now, but like we said, Texas Tech's an option. I know that's
I've
where
heard
Patrick
Clemson's
Mahomes
an
went.
option.
Clemson could be an
Clemson,
option. Penn
but he doesn't
State
take
could be an
doesn't take
option.
transfers though. Remember, doesn't take
He does
transfers.
not. Don't count out Penn State yet either.
And I was thinking about the Michigan thing, by the way, the Michigan thing. Dare I say Dabo Sweeney goes to Michigan? Like, wouldn't that be weird? Wouldn't that be like once away out of Clemson,
You
heads over to?
know, the win with class, good old boy Michigan brand that they put on fits Dabo Swinney, does it not?
I'm just saying, it would be weird because I used to think Dabo was an okay guy. He's a little weird, but I don't know, man. It's just the whole thing's interesting. And then Dylan Raiola, like, I don't know, like, I kind of feel bad for Nebraska because they just get, man, they get this all the time, man. Like they get something that's semi good and then they just get it ripped out of them. Like I've always said, man, they should go back to the Big 12. Like maybe they're gonna have more like, I don't know. That's more their football, anyways. I don't know.
Hmm.
I don't know who comes to be quarterback for them because their backup's not very good. And
Yeah.
I could see actually a Lincoln Keenholz. That makes more sense at Nebraska for Ohio State. I hate to see Lincoln Keenholz go, but he's not going to start next year.
Hmm.
I think that's a great fit for Nebraska. I think that'd be a great fit for them
Hmm.
if they would go that route.
High profile return announcements have been Lenore Sellers at South Carolina, Arch
Arch
Manning at
Manning.
Texas, and
Oh no,
Jade
it's
Maava at
remember
USC.
it's signing. Remember they have the signing day, which by the way I think it was it Josh Pate? No,
Re-signed
no, it was Gus Johnson, not who's with Gus Johnson.
Joel
Who
Klatt.
Joel Klatt was like he hates it so much. He's like, this is so dumb. You didn't re-sign. You just are
Yeah,
staying
you
in
already
school.
signed for four
Like
years at this
you're
institution. Like, where
like
did you think you were gonna
like
go? Like,
Dante, like it wasn't Dante Moore. It was someone I forget who it was, but it was like they were like, oh, he's re-signed for this upcoming year, and it's like, okay, he's already signed the dot. Like he's got 4 years of scholarship. There's
mhm.
no like it's just such a like it's ruining football, man. Like that's now starting to
Yeah,
ruin college football for me because like we're not signing guys. It's
yeah.
not that. That's not how this is.
It just plays into how like every year like you truly are a free agent and how broken that makes the system.
And that just shows you how much more impressive Ohio State's, the Notre Dame's, the the Georgias are that they keep tack their main roster without making big drama or anything like that. They just say, "Hey, we want you here. If you don't want to be here, get out." And like that's
Mhm.
kind of the mentality they have. And I think that's just what's more impressive about those kind of programs.
Yeah, I think that's everything big in college football. So we could move to the Browns
Ugh,
if you want
so
now.
disgusting.
Coming off, I think it was 31 to
They
3 loss to the
they
Bears.
They might have the defensive player of the year and the defensive rookie of the year, and yet they're not going to win more than 4 games. It's depressing.
Yeah, it was sad to watch again. It seems like any team Shador plays with a pulse, he has the worst game you could imagine. But
It
when
had
he
the
gets
wrong
to
wristband,
play
I guess. Which how does that even
that
happen?
too, how do you do that? Yeah, but when he gets to play like dead
Stefanski's trying
teams,
to. Jeez.
I know, I know they lost to the Titans
Uh,
too, but they're a dead team and he played really well against them. But that Jerry Jeudy interception again, man, like how do we keep having all these weird turnovers? How does this guy still have a job? Like if you
I
wanted to like build the case that they're trying to like, screw Shador's career up already,
I would
like you
believe
could
it.
point to
I
things.
would I would 100% believe
You
it.
could point to things like how there's timeouts and Bailey Zappi's the one out here talking to Shador. It's not Kevin Stefanski. He's staying away from him, getting him the wrong playbook, I guess. And Jerry Judy's making stupid fumbles and catching passes and handing them to defensive backs so they become
I really
interceptions.
regret saying last year that Jerry Duty was the best transaction the Browns have made in a while. I'm really regretting that
It
statement that
looked
I
like
made on the show.
like finally realized his potential. They'd been talking about in Denver, like, oh, this will be the year, this will be the year, this will be the year, and it never happened. And when we traded for him, I was like, I think at year four, it was year five, he is what he is at this point. But then he had the Pro Bowl season, and I thought he actually deserved it. And then this year's just totally regressed. The drops are a problem again, and turnover machine, man. Like you can't blame Shador for that pick, but the two other ones that he threw, I mean,
But
like
it's
I said,
also it's
anytime you play a team with a pulse, it seems like he just is
and the score
awful.
looks worse than it is because I don't think the defense played terrible. The defense is doing what it has to do. I mean, yeah, they're missing tackles, but Swethinger, that dude's got 133 he's got the fifth most tackles in Browns history in a single
As a rookie.
season as
Yeah,
a
he's having a
rookie.
really
He's
good year.
he's going to win rookie of the year, defensive rookie of the year. You're going to have Garrett's going to win defensive player of the year. That means you're going to have two defensive players of the years in a sense, and yet you have this right. And I think
Hmm.
for me, look, I think the rookies you can't and people are you're giving a hard thing on Judkins. Judkins can't help it when his offensive line is absolutely atrocious. Like he can't do anything when he's getting hit 2 yards in the backfield. Like I think Judkins is doing the best he can with what he's got. I think Fannin is doing better than what most rookie tight ends
Fannin, I
could
think,
do.
is sixth in receiving yards for tight ends, or maybe it's
Yeah,
catches.
it's catches because he has like almost 60 catches. Ridiculous. Um,
That leads me to another point. Everyone's making all the excuses for why Shador can't play well and how he has no help, and it's pointing to things like Judy and then the offensive line. But he's actually been getting about a second more to throw the ball than what
yeah,
Dylan Gabriel was. For whatever reason that is, I don't know, but he's getting more time to throw the football. Uh, it's led to maybe more yards, but it hasn't in any way really cut down on turnovers
I
or helped his accuracy at all.
I just, dude, I'm just done with Stefanski, man. I get it. He's a two-time coach of the year. I think that's the only reason they keep him around. But it's
Yeah.
it's very obvious, dude. I don't know about you. Isn't it very obvious that he doesn't want this team to succeed? That's what it feels like to me. It feels
Well,
like he's
here's the other thing. His brand up until Deshaun was getting the most out of like quarterbacks. Like when he was in Minnesota, Kirk Cousins had his best seasons. When he initially came to Cleveland and he was having to play like Jacoby Brissett, playing the best football years he's had. Joe Flacco in his old age was seemingly getting the most out of him. Baker Mayfield looked like a guy that played his best in Cleveland because of how he ended up in Carolina and how he ended up in LA with the Rams. But now it looks like Kevin just held him back. And then Deshaun comes in, and it's like those are the two guys that you really had that you could say are proven quarterbacks, Baker Mayfield and Deshaun Watson. And he didn't, he did terrible with them. Like
yeah.
he brought their ceiling down so far with them.
It's
And
almost
we're
like he
seeing
relied too
that
much on
with the
Chubb. And once Chubb left, it's like I don't think he knew what to do when Chubb wasn't playing. He didn't know what to do.
Yeah, when we left the identity, yeah, the really good run game. Yeah, I'm ready to be done with him though. They need a fresh,
Dude,
clean slate.
He's
Maybe,
been here longer than most Browns coaches have ever been here.
yeah,
Look, hats off. You got us a playoff win. Congrats. Cheers to you. Now get out. That's how
yeah.
I see it.
Andrew Berry might have saved his job in the meantime because of how great this draft class panned out, but I think Kevin's gotta go. Get out of
Hey,
here.
I say go bring back get John Gruden, man. Go get John. I'll take Gruden. Give me a John Gruden. Let's do it.
I don't know if they can do that with how his tenure with the Raiders left because of all the, quote unquote
Yeah.
racist things that came up when
Okay, if
they
not
were
John Gruden, I would
investigating
say this. If
Danny
not John
Snyder.
Gruden, I say we go and get Steve Sarkisian. Let's just go for it.
Just go and get one of the offensive gurus at the college level.
Let's do it. Not Ryan Day. Ryan Day needs to stay. But,
I
I
was gonna
mean,
say
look,
Brian Daboll's a guy that's been in Cleveland. He'll be available. We've seen him do some good stuff with Daniel Jones,
Mike
but
McDaniel might be available after the
Mike
Dolphins
McDaniel
suck.
might be available. Yeah, a guy that's been in Cleveland before also.
Um,
Yeah, I don't know who the hot names will be. I'm not as tapped in the
Mike
NFL
Tomlin.
as I
Dare I
used to.
say Mike Tomlin?
It could be Mike Tomlin's
I
time
can
up
just
in
see your
Pittsburgh
face, though.
too.
Your face is like, oh, that would be awful to have Mike Tomlin. Just,
In
no.
some ways, it would be great because he always is winning games with teams
But
that maybe
just the
shouldn't be
the
winning.
just the
But
rivalry, though.
yeah, not as much that as there's a clearly a ceiling set. Mike Tomlin never, at least more so recently, has achieved very little with some good teams, but
Yeah.
he's also achieved a lot with little teams. So
Yeah.
it's hard to say. That would be our comment. If Kevin Stefanski's fired, who would you want them to go
Yeah.
after?
Who would you want to be?
Get
Let
me
us know.
get my brain churning because I haven't really thought too much about
Dave
this.
Bowden, who do you think? Because I know my dad's got a list probably, just some book somewhere.
Yeah.
He would have Landry from the Cowboys era. That's who he'd want. He wants the old school guys.
Old school guys.
But yeah, I think
Um,
I think that's well, let's see, what else do we got?
I
I
wanted to talk
mean,
about some of these baseball moves that have been
oh yeah,
happening
that's right. I completely
because we
do
do
I
have
forget the baseball's
MLB
happening. Oh, you mean how the
MLB
Reds
off
just didn't want to
season's
spend
underway.
spend 20 more million to get Schwarber because the Reds just decided to be cheapskates? Freaking ridiculous. Schwarber was
Yeah.
gonna sign if they just pay him another 20 million. Like, dude, do it. You imagine Schwarber in that stadium? You've been to that stadium. You imagine
Hmm.
Schwarber hitting left-handed in that stadium?
Yeah. Be a lot of
Gosh.
homers. There were a couple moves in particular I wanted to talk about. That was going to be one of the more notable stays, but uh, Pete Alonso going to the Orioles was a move that just came out of nowhere to me because
I didn't.
I
I think he was frustrated at the end of the year with the Mets. I just don't
well,
think he was
not
happy.
necessarily that he left the Mets. I thought that was coming too. I think just the body language and just the the perceived attitude there looked like that relationship might be severed, and I figured he'd be going, but I never thought it'd be, the little small market Baltimore Orioles that are spending their
Yeah.
money on guys like
And
Charlie
yet
Morton as their big moves.
and
Tyler
yet Guardians
O'Neill,
and
I
Reds
think.
don't pay anything.
Yeah, and then they come out here with a big swing, man, to go get like Kyle Schwarber signed 5 years, 150 million in Philly, and then they get Pete Alonso at 5 years, 155, and I'm like, wow, man, look at the Orioles. Like they got, the young core that I mean, last year they started off so bad, and then they got like the bats coming
They got
around about
hot.
halfway through, but the pitching just needed to come around, and I don't think they're done yet, according to their GM Mike Elias. He said that they had money to spend. And I was like, well, I'll believe it when I see it, man, because Baltimore never does this. And so they come out and get one of the biggest moves. So if you ask me, this is how you defeat the LA Dodgers, Ben. They go and get all the superstars that nobody wants to pay. These small market teams got to go and get the superstars and pay
that
them.
people that
So that
people
there's
want to pay.
yeah. Yeah, like if no one's going to pay, Blake Snell or nobody's going to pay Tyler Glass now or nobody's going to pay Shohei Ohtani or Freddie Freeman or Mookie Betts this money, it's like the Dodgers are like, we will. If there's teams out there that are willing to spend money on these superstars, there's less options for the Dodgers to get. And that kind of segues me into another big loss for the Mets, which was Edwin Diaz. And I think the Dodgers gave
Ridiculous,
him
dude.
$3 million more than
That
what the
just
Mets had
says more. That
offered.
just says more about the Mets than it does the Dodgers. Just shows you how much like they want people want out of New York for the from the Mets.
It makes me wonder what the Mets' plan is, because they just threw all that money on Juan Soto for the next
Can you
15
imagine what
years.
Juan Soto's sitting there thinking? Like, what is happening? What did
Yeah,
I do?
yeah. Like
Why did I do this?
You still got Lindor locked up, but now Edwin Diaz is gone, and with that extra money, I believe they've gone out and gotten Luke Weaver, and I think they got Devin Williams too from the Yankees. With the money they saved from Pete Alonso, they got Jorge Polanco on a 2-year, 40 million. So They're doing exactly what the Yankees did last year when they missed out on Juan Soto. And it's like, okay, what are we gonna do with all this extra money? They did a little bit of a high scale money ball, going out and getting Cody Bellinger and Devin Williams and Paul Goldschmidt and some of these mid tier free agents. And it looks like that's what the Mets are doing right now. I don't know if the fan base will be excited about it. It seems very unlike Steve Cohen, who just is shelling out money all the time because he wants
Yeah.
to win so bad. But yeah, if you're a Mets fan, you go from being in the NLCS against the Dodgers in 2024 to having one of
The
the best
Reds beat you
records.
out.
Yeah, to having the Reds beat you out on an epic collapse this regular season, and now you're losing pieces. They also traded Brandon Nimmo, so that's another guy that's out of town. So a lot of the core that's been around this Mets team for the last few years is starting to be dealt away. And you could say, well, they never won anything while they were together. And after the collapse, maybe it's time to start fresh. But you're also giving a lot of money to Juan Soto and Francisco Lindor. It's kind of tough to try to rebuild when you're giving money out like that. Also, like you
Agreed.
should be trying to win now with those guys in their prime.
Agreed. Yeah.
Uh,
Mm.
The Blue Jays also are not done spending money. I believe one of the first moves that was announced a while back, we didn't talk about it, but Dylan Cease,
Yeah.
one of the pitchers from the Padres, is going to be over there now. So that's another nice piece to have over there. I believe they're going to keep Shane Bieber. They're also going to have, Trey Savage coming back, and it doesn't look like the Blue Jays are going anywhere
They're not
anytime
going
soon.
anywhere.
They
No.
tasted that, and they're,
They want
revamping
it.
the team.
They want it. They
Yeah.
want it for sure.
Still waiting to find out where Kyle Tucker signs. I think that's the lat well, not the last, but one of the big bats that's remaining that I'm curious to see if the Cubs come out and give him the money that he needs, or of course the Dodgers have been in the discussions too, or if maybe
The
the Mets are
Reds.
like, we got some money now. So
Maybe the Reds learned their lesson and they're like, hey, we need a big bat.
yeah, I don't know. Yeah, still a lot of names. Still waiting to see what Bo Bichette does. Still waiting to see what Framber Valdez and Michael King do, I believe. But yeah, the pieces are starting to go around. So we'll be talking about some of those, and then maybe once the season's more or the off
Near
season's more solidified, closer to spring, we go more into like winners and losers kind of stuff. There's just still a lot of football stuff that we
unknown.
want to
Yeah.
discuss, and yeah, and a lot of unknown too. Like maybe the Mets end up pulling, a couple big punches. It's like, wow, look, they really recovered from losing Pete Alonso and ended up being not such a bad offseason after all.
Yeah. I agree. I agree. Um, yeah, man. Dude, this is a crazy time, man. It's like the end of football, but yet still in the middle of football and technically, but
Hmm.
the beginning of off season for dude, there's so many things going on. Basketball, which is also the Cavaliers are atrocious, and I'm just done with them already. They're 13-10. Ridiculous. People are like, well, they're not
Yeah.
healthy. I'm like, dude, figure it out. You're getting paid millions to do it. So
Yeah.
Don
Yeah.
Mitchell can't be your only guy. Can't be your only guy. Any thoughts you have to share with the people before we go? Any final thoughts?
No final thoughts, but on the topic of basketball, I have watched a couple of the college games so far just because I've been curious about who maybe some of the up and coming players are. Cam Boozer, you
Dude,
know what?
unreal. Unreal. That guy's
For
stat
those of you
line.
wondering, yes, that is the son of Carlos Boozer. That'll make
It's a
gentlemen like
twin. It's a twin of Carlos Boozer has another son that's also on Duke.
Caden, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that'll make you feel old if you're, a guy like me.
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously watch Carlos Boozer growing up, and now both his sons are at Duke where their dad played. So Cam's looking really good, like one of the best freshmen, maybe one of the best players in the country. Arizona's ranked number one. Uh, Braden Burris is a freshman that's doing really well over there.
Highest
Uh,
State is 8-3. I'll take it. I'll take
yeah,
it.
a little bit better than what they're used to at this point. As it stands right now, no SEC teams are ranked in the top 10. They've had a rough way
I
to
love it.
go.
I love it. Anytime the SEC is not in the top 10, I love it.
After the 14 of the 16 teams in the conference made the tournament last year, yeah, none are ranked in the top 10 right now. Florida, I think, has four losses already.
Dude,
The
they have a
re
7'9"
reigning
guy. Did you see
national
the guy
champs.
dunked yesterday? The
But they
7'9"
do.
guy?
They do have that guy. Yep.
And he grabbed it and he dunked it with his foot on the ground. I'm sorry, that's just not fair. That's just not fair. It's just
Planted dunk. Wow.
I don't know. You can't call it a dunk anymore. It's just a grab. That's what that is. It's just a grab. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of the podcast. Next week we'll have a little Christmas maybe theme. Maybe we'll have some Christmas questions. I don't know. We'll see. But anyways, I hope you guys have an amazing weekend. Hope you guys have an amazing and safe time with your friends and family. And until next time, we'll see ya.